Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Scalable Expert Podcast. I'm thrilled that you're here. Hey, I'm continuing my world tour here and, recording location. And so I wanted to jump in. I was at a conference, and I have been talking about this a little bit, but I was at a conference and he was talking about creating your digital twin. And I love that because I always call it kind of the scalable version of yourself or the virtual version of yourself, where you're creating yourself just in an online world, right? So you create your little avatar. If you haven't seen mine, it's out on Facebook somewhere. So I will make sure that I include it somewhere in this episode. But if you create a digital version of yourself, the goal is really for you to think about, like, how do you capture what you do so well in customer delivery, in scalable engagement, like all of the things. What do you do so well when you are working one-on-one with a customer, right? So if you think about what is the best experience that I create, right? What is it? Are you really personable? Are you approachable? Are you a problem solver? What is it about what you do that draws people to you? You want to think about, how do you create a digital twin of yourself as you're thinking about scalable delivery of your proprietary framework. And so this is a really fun exercise because so often we think about what we want to deliver, right? We think about what we want to say, what the information is that we want to put in there, maybe a little bit about, like, oh, we want to show up on a call once a week, or we want to show up and do a discovery call, whatever it is that you want to do, right? All of those mechanics tend to be a lot easier. But when you think about, how do you create a digital twin of yourself or the virtual version of you, what's happening is that you're thinking through, like, how do I show up live and in person? And you try and replicate that in the digital version of yourself. And that is a really fun exercise, but I think it's one that people forget all the time. Because remember, like, even when you're recording videos, even when you are creating your activities and your workbooks and whatever it is that you're creating, you have to always remember that there's somebody on the other side of that who's receiving your message. And it could be live and in person, that could be live virtual, or it could be recorded in a video like this, right? And so especially when you have your customers, you want to think about who it is that you are recording this for, and how do you show up in the same way that you would show up if you were with them in person. So for example, think about if you're recording a video and you're teaching something to one of your customers. If you were live with them, you probably would be animated. You would probably, like, use visual aids. You would make it about them. You would do things to get them to engage, right? So they felt like they were part of the conversation. You wouldn't just talk at somebody for 30 minutes and say, okay, great, now go do your workbook, right? Like, you wouldn't do that if you are one-on-one or even facilitating or training to a group, right? You're not going to just blast them with information and then say, okay, any questions? Okay, great, now bye-bye, right? So often we forget that when people are acting with our training, that it's the same thing, right? Just because it's in video format doesn't mean that they don't also want to engage, that they don't also want to be a part of the conversation. And so it's a really simple example, but so often I'll have people I'm working with and they create their training videos and they're like this, and they're reading a teleprompter, and it's really like a lot of very serious stuff like this, right? And that is not actually going to engage them, and that's not how you would speak to somebody if they were with you. So when you're creating your digital twin, match your energy that you have when you are in front of people, right? That is, like, just a simple example, but it's so important. The other thing is, remember that you're actually speaking to someone on the other end of that camera. I will never forget, there was a time that I was working with a client in a group program. And so for our programs, just so you know, we have the training curriculum, and then they show up live to ask questions and work through obstacles and hurdles and all the different things. And so they watch it, and then we are together discussing it and working through different activities. So he was going through the training just how it's prescribed. And we were at a conference together, and he walked up to me and said, oh my gosh, what you shared with me this morning was so awesome. I just applied it and it totally changed this whatever thing in his business. And I looked at him and I'm like, I wasn't with you this morning. And he is, oh my gosh, I totally, like, yes, I was watching your video. But what was so fascinating is for him, he was with me. Think about that a minute. For him, he was with me. I just happened to be on camera, right, in a video format. But he was interacting with me. He got a piece of information that he needed. He applied it. And for him, it didn't matter that I was on camera or that I was sitting in front of him, speaking it to him, right? And so it's such a powerful lesson. I will never forget it because it was really the first time that I got it, that I was like, oh, it doesn't matter if I am in front of somebody or if they are interacting with me in the digital or virtual version of me. They are getting value from what I am teaching, from my methodology, from my ability to help them take the fastest path from point A to point B. So I really want you to think about that. And I want you to think about, like, how do you create that digital twin, right? What does that look like? And get creative, because honestly, it's not just about like, oh, I, got the latest AI bot. And so people can ask me questions on the AI bot and I've just programmed it with a million questions. That's not what I'm talking about, right? There is value to that, but that's not the first step. That's not where you start. And what you want to do is just replicate your sort of personalized experience that you're creating for your people. And so by thinking about it like you're just creating that little person who's running around the internet, running around your membership, running around your program, that is representing the best parts of you so that you can show up and leverage your time and attention. So when you're live with them, you're able to really get into the details of their business or whatever it is that you're helping them with and provide a ton of value so they feel completely taken care of in your experience that you've created. That is a completely different situation than having to show up, repeat yourself a million times to every single new customer. I always call it 50 first dates, right? Every time you get a new customer, you repeat the process. You repeat everything that you've said. That is exhausting and not a good use of your time. And so how do you capture the digital version of yourself and make it a great experience? So take this little tip, start to sort of map it out a little bit. Like, where can you add the digital twin of yourself or the virtual version of yourself? Where can you add that in? Where would it be helpful for people to get you in their day-to-day, in the training, in the experience that you can deliver one time or create one time and deliver an infinite number of ways? All right, there you go. That is my tip for you today. Hey, if you love this episode, I would love for you to give it a rating, share it with your friends and colleagues, and get the word out that the Scalable Expert podcast is the place to be. We appreciate everything that you are doing in your business and in your life, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode.